entrepreneur. And this is a challenging word because of the length, because of the R sounds, and it's spelled in a way that's not very helpful for us to know how to pronounce it. It does come from the French, and there are some slight differences in American English versus in French because we have different vowel sounds and different ways of producing the consonant sounds like the R and the T and the P. So let's take a look at syllable stress. And today on our community page on YouTube, today's quiz was about the stress pattern in this word. And I used some phrases to match the stress pattern. And I think that might be helpful for those of us struggling with the intonation pattern here. So we have short syllables and long syllables. And in the dictionary, we see that the stress comes on the last syllable neur in this word. That's because we can see there's a small diacritic here to mark that that's the long syllable. So in terms of the length of the syllables and the stress, we want to try entrepreneur. If I say it naturally, entrepreneur, entrepreneur, you can hear that the first three syllables, da 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 da, are about the same length as the last syllable. So even though there's a lot of sounds happening in these first three syllables, they need to be fairly quick and light with unstressed vowel sounds. And neur is stretched out and longer. So let's build the word from the back. We have neur. That's actually pretty similar to the word newer. This is a newer word. And we have the tense vowel oo. We want to make sure we have good tongue rounding and don't get lax in that vowel. And then we want a tight back American R, Many of our words in the Word of the Day playlist have had the American R, and I often refer you to our American R playlist to help you with those sounds. Just make sure that even though this word ends with the sound, we don't want to go lax at the end. So you might want to build from the back. Oor, newer. You can also kind of say it as a neur with the vowel that's in could and should. Entrepreneur, neur, or even with just kind of a straight vowel, neur, entrepreneur. So there's some variation on how I do that last syllable. I think that you can select what's easiest for you, entrepreneur, or entrepreneur. These are variations that none of them really match the French exactly. So, okay, so for now, that's the end of the word. And then for our entrepre, we have the first syllable, vowel, the en sounds like on, and that's just our loan word version of the French entrepreneur. And so we can think of that as the word on, which we have to watch out that in American English, the word on has the ah vowel. So if it's more helpful for you, if you see the on and you want to do more of an o, you might want to write it as ah, on. And then we can see these upside down e sounds. These are vowel schwa sounds. They sound like a. So then we have on, tra, pra, neur. I don't even have room to write all of it. So let me rewrite the ending so you can see it more clearly. Entrepreneur. So my tra and my pra both also might be challenging because I have those R blends. So just try each of those separately. Tra, pra, entrepre. And then I want to be able to say this first part more quickly and smoothly. Entrepreneur. I started to keep going there. Entrepreneur. I'll go back to my oor pronunciation. So entrepreneur, short, long. So in the in the community quiz on the YouTube channel, some of the phrases that I had to match were rather than getting another word with similar syllable stress, that's kind of hard to do, it's a longer word, I was writing out some phrases. So I had, for example, the phrase, we can't be sure, smells like manure, what's up with her, it's all a blur. And so the reason I included those phrases was if you have trouble remembering how this word sounds, it might be easier for you to remember, even though this is kind of a funny phrase, smells like manure. In that phrase, we have the same pattern, da da da, or smells like manure, da 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 da. So entrepreneur and smells like manure. That's something that you might not forget, might help you remember when you're looking at the writing for this word and your brain doesn't want to remember that rhythm, that pattern, or those sounds. So you can use any of the phrases from today's quiz. There was one phrase that was not a match because I did want to make it a quiz. If you aren't yet a subscriber and you aren't checking out the community page, you can subscribe to the channel. And when you go to the channel page, you'll see that there are tabs across the front. So the home page shows you the videos. You can see upcoming live classes, our playlists, etc. And our Friday classes are on there as well. And then you can also go and search on specific videos or playlists. And then, of course, we have the community page. And here's where we have quizzes, sneak previews, links to free lessons on the website. And that's updated daily. And it's kind of a fun way to check your knowledge and to do a small bit of pronunciation and accent practice each day. If you haven't yet subscribed